Today I got something you guys I think are really going to like. In the 25 years that I've been using line counter trolling reels, I've always used the Daiwa 27LC. Now I'm not sponsored by them. I don't know anyone who's sponsored by them. To my knowledge, they've never sponsored anybody. In my professional career, I haven't seen it yet anyway. Yet, they're probably the most widely used trolling reel, at least in my observation, out there. So that's a great testament to the quality of the reel, and I really think you get a great bang for your buck for the price. So anyway, that's my Daiwa plug for the day. But the one weak spot I found with the Daiwa 27LCs and the 47LCs is the turning radius of the handle. Now they come with two different types of handles. They come with the double padded with the small pads, and then they come with the trolling handle that's got the one knob on it on the one end. This is actually the only one I've ever broken. As you can see, something's a little wobbly in there. So I've probably about 25 of these over the years, and to only have one break over 20 to 25 years is, wow, speaks for itself, right? Great reel. Does the job perfectly, in my opinion. But the one weak spot that I find is the turning radius is a little bit small. There's certain other reels on the market that have a nicer turning radius, a little bit wider radius, to give you a little bit more leverage when you're pulling in larger fish with planer boards and doing that for a lot of hours in the day. It can get a little tiring. So I'd like a reel with a little wider turning radius. I probably should have made this suggestion to Daiwa. Whether they would have listened or not, who knows. But I come up with a little mod of my own. I'm going to show you that right now. Hold on, I'm going to switch and go to camera 2. Okay, I'm off camera again here, but you can see the tools and you can hear me, and that's all that counts. I'm going to take down my cheat sheet here. Get rid of that. I like to keep things unscripted, and of course I'm off camera here. You're not going to be able to really see me, but the important thing is you can see the modification. So we got the reel. So there's a couple of tools you're going to need for the job. You're going to need a drill and some drill bits. You need a little small square file. I just picked these up. These are just cheap job mate, you know, $6 for a bunch of files, but you'll usually have a square file in there that's pointed, and you got to be something that can fit inside of this handle. So what I'm going to show you here is really quite a cool little trick to get the turning radius of these reels a little bit bigger. So you need a small flat screwdriver. There's a little tiny screw that's a set screw that holds the handle on tight. So I want to remove that first. And yeah, I'm going to get in the way of the camera here a bit, probably. So you take this little cap off, and then the nut. Now I've just got it hand tight on here. I've kind of gone ahead and jury rigged this so that we can do this. Now the padded trolling handle, I've never really liked the double pad, so I broke the ends off of it so that you can use it for this modification. So what I'm going to show you here is I've already taken one and modified it. As you can see, there's the original centerpiece that goes on the rod, or on the reel, sorry, that holds it down. So what I've done is I've basically just flipped it around the other way so you get a new hole, and that gives you a bigger turning radius on your handle. Turn that clicker off, that's quite annoying. So that gives you a nice large turning radius, and this alleviates a lot of the pressure that's put on your arms over the day when you're putting in a long day trolling and reeling in a lot of baits. And you want to be reeling in a lot of baits because that's how you catch the fish, switching up and changing things all the time. So it can get a little tiring sometimes. After 200 times reeling in over the course of the day, you can get a little worn down. So here's an older handle. You can see it's a bit scarred up. So what I do to start out is you line up the set screw. So I'm going to reline up the set screw so that it goes right through. And this is a little finicky to get this started again. And if you notice in the background, I got some of those crazy bottle flies that come out this time of the year. It's July. I live near some farms here, and these things get really irritating. But you turn the screw out so it's just starting to come out the other side, and then line it up with the other reel handle and set it. Not too tight, just snug, because it's going to have to ride up over this little nub here, and you want to kind of get it lined up so it's roughly centered on the other side of the handle. And then what I'll do is I'll often just take and scratch that out with the end of the file inside on the paint, just to kind of get a reference of where you're going to be cutting. Okay, so now what you want to do is take and get a drill bit that fits just about the right, with a little bit of play inside the width of the handle, if you can see that there. Okay, now the best thing to do is put this in a vise, and so I'm going to switch over here to the vise and show you guys how to drill this out on a vise to get it started. So we'll fast forward this part for you so you can get to the next step. So the next step is to undo the screw. And careful, these are cast aluminum, so they do get a little bit warm. You want to give them a little cooling off period. So you've got a rough hole there. Now obviously that isn't going to fit over the area of the reel that you need. But this is where the square file comes in. And this is a bit of playing around. You're going to have to kind of just work it with the file. Again, it's better in a vise, but you're going to have to work this out gradually with the file over time to get the corners squared off. That's why the square file. And it's a bit of a process. It could take you, a good half hour, 45 minutes, even an hour. And just going to kind of work it from both sides. Now again, this is better in a vise, but I'm just kind of getting this started here, working on the process. As you can see, it's starting to get a little more squared off. So, and periodically you just want to test it to see how close you're getting. Now I can just tell visually that's not near big enough hole, so it needs to be worked quite a bit farther. And if you got a Dremel tool will get this done a little faster, but you do have to be careful with a round Dremel tool that you don't wander. It's too easy to wander into the cracks and end up making a mess. You want to get it nice and even and squared off. And this is where I find the square file has the advantage. So we'll just work it up and down each side and each end and try to make an even and consistent run at it. And you'll find that it doesn't actually take that long. You can see I got quite a bit of aluminum filings there. And every once in a while you want to test it out and see if you got a fit. I can tell it kind of needs to be worked on the sides a little bit now. And as I say, I've probably modified 20 of the reels I've had over the years in this way. And I just, towards the end, I kind of work it around in a circular motion to try to get an even and consistent cut. It's not necessary to get absolute perfection. We're getting there now. I can feel it starting to come over the top of the gear, but you don't want to press it too hard and mess up the threads, the brass threads. I'm getting really close there. Probably with a bit of a push I could get that down over the top. As I said, this is far better done in a vise. I'm doing it the hard way here. close. I think it's lengthways now that we need to open it up. And like I say, just working back and forth across. Sometimes it pays to look at the other side because the angle that you've been holding the file at, if it's not 90 degrees, you might have it angled off on the opposite side and where it would otherwise fit. And there you go. Got it to fit. It's as simple as that. So now you put the set screw back on. I'll just hand tighten it, and this should, now what have I done with the small screw? It is still in there. Now there's a trick to lining this up. This fits. This cap is knurled on the inside. It's got a gradient on it to fit over the hex of the nut. So you want to line that up and get it snug. Doesn't have to be super cranked down tight. It's just trying to keep the reel handle from wobbling back and forth. That's wobbling because the gear's broken in there, but so this should line up, and you should be able to take your set screw, put it back in, and tighten it down. And there you go. Now you get a nice wide turning radius on your reels, and you will find this will alleviate a lot of stress over the course of the day. So anyway, hope that mod helps out. Not too expensive a gear. To do the job, most guys have a drill laying around and some drill bits. And when you buy the reels, at least as far as I know, I haven't bought one in a long time, but to my knowledge, they still come with these two reels, so you can use one, as I said, as a set for the other. Come up with that, and hope that mod helps out. Thanks, tuning out.